What's going on, Raider Nation? So I'm here, of course, talking about the game and, of course, the big trade that happened today. Carson Palmer to the Oakland Raiders for 2 draft picks. First, I'll talk about the trade. Yeah, this is definitely a gamble. I will say that much. It's aggressive, it's ballsy, it's a typical Al Davis move that he would have made. He wants to pretty much put all the chips in, go all in, bet a chip on a roulette table, whatever you want to call it. It's a gamble, and you could say it's a desperate move. I consider it a very desperate move that the Raiders want to win now, and they want a quarterback that can be serviceable. Lot of high investment in this, giving up a first round and potentially another late second round pick for 2013. This is going to be very interesting, to say the least, what will happen to the Raiders with this whole Carson Palmer thing. What I will say is that yes, it provides a quarterback. If you want to talk about the best quarterback available amongst Kyle Orton, David Garrard, who was out, which was who I initially wanted, by the way, if you were wondering, but he was hurt. Of course, Brett Favre was a long shot, and then you could just pick up a journeyman like Trent Edwards or Josh McCown, who's worked with the Raiders. Carson Palmer was the best quarterback available, so. And Hugh Jackson, of course, has connections with Palmer because he worked in the Bengals organization as the wide receivers coach. Hugh Jackson was responsible for the growth of Hushmanzada and Chad Ochocinco. But with Palmer, this will be interesting because Palmer, of course, as we know, has been holding out or sitting out this season, wanting to be traded. He's finally got his wish. He better have some motivation, that's for sure. He comes back to California after being a USC Trojan at one point, and he was a decent quarterback. I'll give him that in college. I didn't watch USC detailed enough, like a game by game, but when I did see him, he was definitely solid. But yeah, this is once again a gamble. The Raiders feel they can win now, and they can make their run in this season. Screw the future. They want to win, and they think they're in position to make the playoffs and make a run, which is what the staff and especially Hugh Jackson wants. I think Hugh Jackson was responsible for this move. He wanted Carson Palmer probably a lot because of his connections, and we'll find out what happens or not. But Palmer better be able to have the arm to throw it deep. He better be competent because a lot of pressure is going to be on him. My teams and several teams within the past few years have made high investments, and we'll see how these turn out. The A's, we all know they traded for Matt Holliday, traded 3 prospects away to get 3 more prospects from and Michael Taylor being the key guy. He hasn't panned out, the one we put a lot of investment in. The Sharks traded their future for Brent Burns. Traded, I think, 2 first-rounders and a couple of and another guy for Brent Burns. That was a big investment. And then, of course, the Lakers invested a lot in Pau Gasol with 2 first-round picks, but of course, they traded deadweight at the same time. We know how that all turned out. So, a lot of investing, a lot of high investments. Finally, the Raiders joined the mix, giving up possibly two first-round picks, potentially, for Carson Palmer. It's a desperation move. Mike Brown is pretty stubborn out in Cincinnati, so I figured that the Raiders would try whatever they can to get him. They probably had to keep making offers and keep sweetening the pot, trying to make it more and more for Mike Brown to accept it. And I was wondering if Mike Brown would accept the deal or not at all, because I know he's a stubborn person, but he did it, and it's a gamble. Personally, I did not want to make this move because of the expensiveness and how much pressure there is on this Raiders team to win now. I would have preferred just getting the journeyman and using Bowler because I think he knows the system better. So that's what I probably would have done, but obviously I don't run the Raiders. This is what Hugh Jackson's team, this is what he wants to do, and he believes he can win now. It's a risk, but that's what I'll have to say. Now on to the game talk. We're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, as most of you know. The Chiefs started out slow. They rebounded with a couple wins against some unimpressive teams. But they can show that they still can run the ball, even with Jamal Charles out. They still rank near the top in rushing. We got to make sure we play as well as we did rushing-wise the last couple weeks on the ground. So we did a very good job at run defense. Matt Castle was not an impressive quarterback. This could be the battle of 2 USC quarterbacks potentially if Palmer does play. But get to more of that later. Castle, I'm not very impressed with him, honestly. The only receiver that really impresses me that they got is Dwayne Bowe. He's shown that he can rebound after some downtime. He's had a decent year so far. I know it hurts that they've been injured. I know Charles and Milwaukee being out, that hurts them a lot. Castle, I expect the Chiefs, when they try to pass the ball, they're going to try those short passes like the Browns did with McCoy. Castle is a much better quarterback than McCoy when it comes to that. We got to watch out for those quick slant routes or those just very instant passes that Castle will probably try to execute, because I don't see the long ball coming on us. Just the short stuff. We got to fix that big time. When it comes, stopping the run will be key, and then the short passes is what the Chiefs' game plan will probably consist of. I do think the loss of Charlie Weiss going to Florida is probably their biggest loss. And the Raiders showed why Hugh Jackson's valuable. Now you know why the offense is still what it is today. Having Hugh Jackson there, making sure that he stays in this organization. Chiefs didn't do that enough for Charlie Weiss, and I think it hurts a little. On to the defensive side for the Chiefs. It's very average. Very vulnerable. I know it sucks for them. Eric Berry is out for the year. I do feel for him. I don't wish injury on a player. That's just cruel. But Eric Berry being out for the year has hurt. Other guys have had to step it up for them, and they've shown that they can have a big lead blown, or that they can show that they can dig themselves a hole. But they've actually come back against the last couple opponents of theirs, and we need to watch out for that. But yeah, the Chiefs, they've fought tough the last 2 games, and I'll give them that. They haven't quit. The Raiders tend to always play down to the level of the Chiefs, which is very frustrating. The last 4 or 5 years, I think we've had games in Oakland, and we've played down to their level, or it's been an even battle. We need to step it up and show that we're the Raiders, and we're here to really make some noise in this game, because there's no excuses if the Chiefs just somehow play mad and they blow us out. There's no excuses. The running game should be very effective. I expect the running to be well. The offensive line has really stepped it up. I'll give them that. Pass protection-wise. And Palmer's going to need that if he does play this game. They don't have a great pass defense either. It's just right in the middle. So vulnerable. The receivers' route running will be key. Quarterback accuracy. The intangibles. A lot of it's going to be up here because, as I said before, we need to not play to the level of our opponent. It's kind of frustrating that can happen, and we can let the gas go off the pedal when we're up with a lead and we try to sit on it. Also, we got to play smart football. I don't want to see some stupid play calling, trying to get cute. I don't want to see some dumb 4th down calls. I know that we're ballsy, and I know Hugh Jackson says he has faith in his players, but we got to play smart. All right, I don't want to see dumb decisions by this team in crunch time, and I need to see us finish a game properly, because that's going to be very important. Lastly, of course, the penalties need to make sure. Did very good last week for the most part. If it weren't for 1 offsides, for the most part, I was pretty satisfied with what I saw. But the penalties need to make sure, especially on 3rd down defense, so we need to be careful of those penalty things, because that definitely hurts when you have an offsides like that on 3rd down, and eventually they convert. The Browns did, that is. So composure, a big thing this game. Make sure we don't play down to our level or get arrogant. That'll probably just be the biggest key of this game. Let me know what you guys think of this Chiefs game and, of course, the trade. We'll see you later. Go Raiders, and I'll see you guys right after the game. See you guys later.